Okay, so this is with Carol Lee, who's in the audience, and Carol Lee, naturalhealth.com. Sugar addiction is the niche. So we're going to go through these three things here. So for point of view, I'm just going to ask you some of the questions that were on that sheet. So first of all, just generally, what do you believe about sugar addiction? What are your core beliefs? What's your core understanding about sugar addiction?
I believe it's mainly biochemical, it's not personal. That's a big statement, but that's something to dive into all the time. I believe getting to Island B is a healing journey, it's not a diet.
Okay, it's a healing journey.
Yeah.
Right.
I believe that processed carbohydrates are as addictive as sugar. In fact, they are sugar. Most people don't realise that. I believe the diet industry and the food industry contribute to 100%. It's in their interest to keep us addicted.
What do you believe is the cause of sugar addiction? Why are so many people addicted to sugar?
Because sugar is in everything, and people do not realise the extent. People do not realise that things like dried fruit can keep people addicted to sugar if you're addicted. That processed carbohydrates can keep people addicted. And I know this as a recovering sugar addict myself. That's something that I've been through myself.
Okay, so but yeah, there's refined carbs, there's sugar in everything, there's sweet fruit. So why don't people just say, oh God, it's everywhere. I'm going to stop that now. Why don't people just stop it?
Because of their brain chemistry.
So this is the biochemical thing. So what's happening in the brain chemistry?
So what happened, this is my understanding, this is my POV, I guess, is that, and I can only speak from my own point of view, so you grow up, you create neural pathways in the brain that associate sugars with love, comfort, all those things. So then what happens, you associate those foods with that feeling, and then you keep on going around in circles with this unless you actually, I refer to that, I call it drying out the riverbeds. It's like, so when people are very addicted to sugar, it's like you've got a tsunami going down the river, and it's impossible to stop it. Whereas if you cut out processed carbohydrates, sugars, dried fruit, all those things that create that flow in the neural pathways, then you basically make that neural pathway become more dormant.
And what is the bullshit you're sick of in the industry around getting people off sugar? Is there anything you're sick of?
God, my biggest thing that drives me crazy is lots of recipes that say this is sugar-free and it's stuffed full of dates, it's stuffed full of maple syrup, it's stuffed full of honey. Now, there's nothing wrong with those products in themselves, but if people think they're eating them because they feel addicted to sugar and they want to give up sugar, then it's not going to help them. So that drives me crazy.
Okay. And what do you see missing in the whole, beating sugar addiction field? What's missing? What's not there?
I think it's the healing aspect, that people want a quick fix, and I think this is a process, it's a journey, and that, I was addicted to sugar for 54 years before I broke that cycle.
Yeah.
I went round and round in a loop before I got all the bits of the jigsaw.
So what do you think it makes the difference between just going round and around in a loop forever versus finally it?
It's having the information. It's having the clear information about what's creating the cravings and what's preventing people from stopping. And also, this is a big one, is shame. The shame people feel about how they eat. Because people think, I should be able to do this, I can give up sugar, and then they don't, they fall off the wagon, they feel ashamed, they feel less than,
Right.
that drives them back into sugar.
Okay, so let me feed this back to you. So, sugar, if people were to understand that the sugar addiction is biochemical, it's not personal, that it's a healing journey, that processed carbs are addictive, that the diet and food industry are in collusion around this, that it's in everything, that there are emotional associations, sugar equals love, that we need to cut it out slowly. There are a lot of sugar-free recipes that are not sugar-free at all, and that if they had the info they need and they dealt with the shame, would that solve it, or is there anything else that's missing?
Support.
People need support. What kind of support do people need?
I think you need to be with other people who feel the same way, because so many people out there say that's ridiculous, there's no such thing as sugar addiction. But people who do feel addicted to sugar, there is such a thing.
Right, so you need support. People aren't going to dismiss it and like, you're just over, this is over the top.
Yeah.
Relax
And
and
kindness and empathy.
okay, that's great. So that's a question, by the way, that you can ask in your groups, because you're going to get together in groups based on this, is, okay, if all of this was achieved, would that solve it? Or is there something else that's missing? You can start to get more. Of course, this is short. We could do this for days and days and keep coming up with stuff, but this is just a short version. Okay, thank you very much. And by the way, out of all of this, if you had to pick one thing here that you think is just the most important thing that you wish people understood, what's the one thing on that list that you would want to circle?
About processed carbs and the different types of sugar and how that all feeds into the biochemical reaction.
Okay, so it's the kind of biochemical processed carbs.
Although it's really hard to rank it.
No, that's good. Okay, so you get a better, more of a sense, right, of her work. Is this a fit? There's a bit more now. I understand it. It's not just a surface sugar addiction, but you start to understand the philosophy it's coming from. Okay, then there's the business model. So what is your business model right now? Like what do you have on offer for people? Let's say if people want to just check you out for free,
Okay.
what do you have?
I have a free Facebook group
Great.
called My Sugar-Free Journey. So people they obviously just get shown it on Facebook and people put sugar-free or sugar into the search bar.
Great.
So that's the first bit. Then I do I call them pods, I suppose. It's like three-week group coaching type.
How much do those cost?
About 50 quid.
So 3-week group coaching, £50. Okay.
And then if people want, I do have a very small monthly membership called My Sugar-Free Life, and that's £27 a month. And people get weekly classes, Zoom group coaching, all the resources.
Great. Anything else?
Also, you can have one-to-one coaching. So depending on how long they want, it's between £70 and £90.
Okay. 70 to 90 pounds, depending on how many sessions. Anything else?
No.
Okay.
I was just.
It's great. Here's one thing I would recommend adding, and in fact, probably for most of you, is the idea of, it would be somewhere in here. Actually, it might even be before the Facebook group. Well, first of all, of course, are you on social media? Do you put up any content at all?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I've got
Okay.
a business page as well.
Okay, so there's social media, but in between the Facebook group and social media, or maybe, well, it's somewhere in this ballpark, is this idea of a signature workshop. And a colleague of mine, Bradley Morris, has a lot of good stuff on this. Just search Bradley Morris There's a signature workshop on YouTube, you'll find it. But if you're a service provider, this is very helpful. What is a signature workshop? It's 1 hour online, it's free, and you just share your point of view. And there's a couple approaches to this. One, you do it to your people. Just once a month or once a quarter, you do it. It's the same thing every time. You don't get clever and original with it. You just keep doing it and improving it. It's not a new thing every time. But you're just sharing your point of view. You're on Island A, you want to be on Island B? Well, here's my take on it. This is what I think it ought to be. So there's that. And then, yeah, 1 hour. Well, if you make products, slightly different thing, or if you're a performer, slightly different thing. But for a service provider, this is huge. Just 1 hour, free, they come. And he's got 4 parts to it. I'm not going to go into it, but I just would urge you all to check out his stuff if you're a service provider. Yeah.
What's your opinion on lead magnets?
Great. It's a great idea. Yeah, like a lead magnet, meaning if you enter your email here and you'll get something cool, but then you'll be on my email list. You've got one as great. I think it's a good idea. Something I'm probably going to come up with this as a product around it, creating a starter kit. I'm also a fan of that in the business model, especially again for if you're a service provider, if you're in the coaching, healing arts, just something is here's something to get you started. So, here's all of this would go in the starter kit. And you give away your best stuff. Give away your best stuff.
What format would you put that in?
Videos, probably, or it could be, could all be written, could be audio, meditations, it depends on the nature of the work. Yeah. Okay. Now, hubs. So can you tell us anything from your ideal client exercise, what you came up with on the psychographics in particular, or demographics? Is there just anything that you can tell us that would help clarify who this is?
This is where I get a bit bedeviled with my stuff. So, because I sort of see this as a healing journey,
Yep.
so my psychographics are generally people who are open to alternative
Yes, great.
approaches, maybe have some spiritual beliefs,
Okay.
women.
So women, open to alternative ideas and healing, spiritual. If there were authors or books that you were going to find on her bookshelf, what would be the books that you'd say, oh my God, you're a perfect fit? What authors or books would let you know? Okay, while you're thinking about that, I'm going to pass these out. Take some, pass them around.
Do you need to do with sugar or to do with anything?
To do with who you want to work with. Yeah, you're a psychic.
Books I have in common with people.
Yeah. Like a book that would let you know, the way you see the world, that's going to align with this work.
Okay.
Because here's what flags me. She says, it's a healing journey, but a lot of people mean different things by healing. Also spiritual. What do you mean by spiritual? That word is so vast. Are we talking New Age spirituality? Are we talking Brene Brown spirituality? Are we talking Elizabeth Gilbert spirituality? Are we talking Buddhism, Christianity, pagan? You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of ways that could be meant. And when we say it, we always mean something specific, but it's hidden. So it's often, one of the ways you can say is, you're into spirituality such as da, da, da. You follow the teachings of, it's different to say Deepak Chopra, Neil Donald Walsh, and James Redfield versus Stephen Jenkinson, Martine Prechtel, and Teokas and Ghost Horse or something. Those are, so what are the ones that you mean?
I can't think of any books because my brain's gone back.
Yeah.
But what I mean by that is following our body wisdom, our intuitive knowing.
Okay, that's different than I would have guessed. Raise your hand if that was different than what you thought. See, so it's great. Okay, but so you're they're into following their own intuitive body wisdom. They're already drawn to that.
Yeah,
good,
so
it's good.
nature, spirituality.
Nature, spirituality, great.
Feeling the seasons, moon phases.
Moon phases,
Yeah.
feeling the seasons. This is good. So you get more of a sense, right? Immediately just from that and all this, it's okay. I get more of a sense of who you are and what you're about. So now, what you're going to be doing on those cards I passed out is you're going to be brainstorming hubs for her. It might be helpful for her if you put your name and email in case your handwriting is terrible. Also, write neatly. But she may want to reach out if she has questions. But we're going to brainstorm hubs for you. Yes. Where the question is this: based on what you know already, where might she find her people? What do I mean? Where might she find her people? I mean, what are the events, locations, groups, media, or people that might help her connect? Now, does anyone have any questions to clarify who she's trying to reach? If you're sort of like, I think I get it, but I'm not totally sure, any clarifying questions?
Are you looking for people that are sick from the sugar addiction?
Wow.
People can either be, a lot of people that step forward have just had a type 2 diabetes diagnosis or are in that.
Metabolic syndrome, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Okay, so they've probably maybe recently had a scare around the health scare around metabolic, you know, they got a diagnosis or something. Yeah, you have a question?
Do you work with young people under 18?
Mostly not.
Okay, so mostly not young people under 18?
Mostly like parents of people who are just starting to eat toddlers and
They're starting to eat toddlers? My oh my, this is the shadow side of TOTNES. I'm terrified. All right.
Do you work with the psychological, emotional side of sugar addiction?
Okay, so she does work with the emotional, psychological side, yes?
Are you willing to work with men? Are you specifically working with women?
I work with men one-to-one, but my group program's for women.
Great. Okay, what is it that's unique for women about the sugar thing that's different than for men, if anything?
More common, maybe?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
Is it
The-
hormonal? Maybe it's hormonal. I mean, I think also a lot of people that come my way are perimenopausal, postmenopausal.
Uh-huh.
So 40 plus.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm already getting ideas for hubs. So let's write the hubs.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah. It's good you'll notice it's easier to brainstorm hubs for somebody else, by the way. It's easier to see it there. But this is the way we start to wrap our minds around what is it. And again, if you're lost, just try going through this checklist. What are events at which Carol Lee might find some of these women? What are location? Where do they go? Are there places that they tend to be? Are there groups that they're a part of? I mean, immediately she's saying the seasons and the moon. Well, women's circles. Almost certainly there are going to be all sorts of women's circles. There's going to be, I work with women in menopause. You know, you in the corner. It's okay. So there's a whole world of that. The Sharon Blackie's work around haggitude. You know, becoming an elder. All of this. These are potential hubs. But again, and then what are the media? Women at that age, in that situation, maybe, and who are spiritual, who are drawn to these things. Who do they follow? What do they follow online? Are there magazines, print things that they follow? And are there certain key people? And this could be, by the way, when we say people, you might say, oh man, you got to talk to yoga teachers. You got to talk to women's group leaders. You could go general, or you could say, I know somebody specifically that you need to talk to. Yeah. So we'll just take one more minute. Just get down any ideas you have. Oh, no. There are some there. Pass them around. Raise your hand if you don't have a card, and the card will find you. Thank you so much. Simone, behind you, there's a... Yeah.
I do most of my work online.
Okay, so it's online as well. That's an important detail. It's online. It's not just
There
local.
are loads of US people that I work with.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
also say I'm a kinesiologist and a nutritional therapist. So those.
You work with a
I
kinesiologist.
am a kinesiologist.
Oh, and a physical therapist.
And a nutritional therapist.
And a nutritional therapist. Okay. So, as you get down ideas, I'm going to invite whatever you've got so far, circle the one that you think is the best one. The one that says, like, this is the winner. If I could only help you in one way, it would be this is the hub for you. And let's just get a few up on the board. Raise your hand if you're like, I've got this one. This is a great one. Over there? Yes.
Yeah, I've got quite a niche one that might be good. It's called the Own Stream Network.
OWN or OWN?
Own.
OWN?
Yes.
The OWN Stream Network. What is that?
It's a network of all kinds of people gathering to talk about homeschooling and different ways of using technology, diet, food, medical freedom, all kinds of stuff. So a lot of people on healing journey within that community. And there's a Facebook, Instagram, anti-network,
Beautiful.
global.
Awesome. Well, you got one.
The Juno, like holistic parenting magazine.
So say what?
Juno, it's like a holistic parenting magazine.
Holistic.
Parenting.
Oh, okay. Juno, the Holistic Parenting Magazine. Okay, so Holistic Parenting Magazine. And there could be potentially other parenting magazines. Great. Who else? Yes.
There's a content creator on Instagram called the Glucose Goddess.
Oh,
The
yeah.
New Coast?
The Glucose Goddess.
The Glucose Goddess. Okay, great.
She's good. She's good.
Great. Glucose Goddess on Instagram. And again, there may be other influencers who do stuff around sugar, around metabolic. But sometimes it's, hey, I talk about the sugar thing, but I don't work with people. I'm passionate about it, but that's not what I do. And they may be looking to refer people. Yeah? That's great. Yeah.
There's a journal called Menopause
Menopausal.
Matters. Menopause.
A Menopause Matters magazine?
Yes.
Or a journal? Okay, Menopause Matters journal.
It's got a big online thing.
Great. And again, there may be other journals, other magazines, there are on menopause. So there could be a whole category there. You could write articles, sometimes they might host events you can go to. Two more. Yes.
Autistic societies, because of the huge connection with sugar and the behaviour and creating nice good cytotoxins in the brain.
Okay. Great. And
Arnica groups.
Arnica group.
Yeah, so it's sort of alternative parenting, but often the parents are struggling to keep up with what they're doing to their children.
Arnica groups. So parenting group. Okay. These are great starts. Now here's the truth. First of all, you can pass those cards in to Carolee. The truth is, when Carolee gets these, most of them will be wrong. Most of them won't be helpful, but even that is helpful. Here's why. Because Carolee will look at this and say, shit, something I said gave people the idea that this was a good hub. What do I need to say next time so I wouldn't get that? You see what I'm saying? And then you hone your niche. So even bad hubs are good news because it just clarifies. It's like, wait a minute, I don't want the people who would go to this hub. Why? Because of this. And that's what tells me something about so let me hone this. So then if we were to do this, let's say tomorrow, we come back and Carolee says, hey, I got the hubs and there's some really good ones. I realized, can I clarify? And she were to share a clarified version, we would get a way better set of hubs. And then you could keep refining it in that. Because the hubs, that's just our way of saying, this is what I heard you say. It's an incarnated example of, it's an echo, You said this, so I'm volleying back this, not quite that. Yeah. So you can do this with each other. Of course, you could, people you meet here, your colleagues, you could get together, brainstorm hubs for each other. You can do this on Facebook, it's very telling. You can take what you came up with, the 5 levels, polish it a bit, put it on Facebook and say, where do I find these people? And again, you'll get hubs and it's like, oh no, wrong ones. What do I need to change? And then, a week later you do it again. Tag some folks and you'll start to get ideas for hubs. You'll be amazed at the hubs that you can find that you think you know a scene. You think you've got it dialed, and you just don't. There are so many things. Even in a little area like this in TOTNES, you can probably live here your whole life, and you think you know the scene, and then you're 60 years old and you hear about something that's been going on 30 years that you knew nothing about. Very conceivable. So it's good to keep asking. It's always good to ask. And then let's say Carol Lee let's say there's 3 really good hubs out of all of them. It's like, man, that's an amazing one. Then Carol Lee could go to that hub, start a conversation, and just say, do you have any other ideas of who else I should talk to? And they will. Let's say each of those 3 give her 3. And you see how that goes. You just keep the conversation going, and pretty soon you've got this very solid map and a very clear sense of who you're trying to reach, and lots of partnerships and relationships to boot. Does that all make sense? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a little break, but when we come back, you're going to be getting into groups based on these. If it's point of view, I'll go over this again, but point of view, you'll have a group of 3. If it's business model, you'll have a group of 4. Hub marketing, you'll have a group of 4. And you're going to be supporting each other in that way. But we're going to take a little 15-minute break right now. So go refresh yourself, and we'll see you on the other side.